To prelude this review, I'd first like to tell you that the original Candyman from 1992 is essential viewing for this. It's a bit confusing because the film literally has the same title, so feels like a reboot more than a sequel. But don't let that fool you, this is definitely a continuation of that film. I haven't seen the other two Candyman films, so maybe they tie in as well, but a lot of the moments in this film won't hit as much if you haven't seen the 1992 film. Saying why will spoil a lot, obviously, but I can say that Nia DaCosta's film modernises a lot of the ideas from the original to great effect, and in some cases even grounds things to make them seem even realistic at points. Candyman is a pretty good horror film. It uses an idea that I've had for a movie slasher for a long time to great effect. One of a vampire's scariest attributes is meant to be that they can't be seen in mirrors. I always thought that what would be scarier would be something that could only be seen in mirrors. It seems that Nia DaCosta, Jordan Peele and I are on a similar wavelength when it comes to scary things. It's also fitting since Candyman as a slasher is intrinsically linked to mirrors, so it makes complete sense. With that in mind, this mentality is used to great effect, and there's a lot of good, gory scares in this film. It's certainly well directed with a lot of great flair and style throughout the short 90-minute runtime. There's a lot of well done visual cues to the original film as well, which again proves why you should watch the original. The trailer sold a lot of cool flashbacks told through sinister looking shadow puppets. These are present, with one that wasn't shown in the trailer. However, I felt that they still weren't utilised enough, and the trailer sold something that just isn't really in this film. I do, however, recommend staying through the credits, as there's a whole series of fantastic shadow puppet shows that are really well done and make me wish that we'd seen a lot more of them throughout the film. The story itself is quite interesting, with some social commentary that can get a bit forced at points, but it all makes sense at the end, so stick with it. Yahya Abdul-Mateen II's character grated on me a little at the start, but as the film went on I enjoyed his presence more and more. He's an artist living in a big flat, and being such a person, a lot of the things he said made my eyes roll, but as the story goes on his character becomes more and more interesting. Mateen's acting is great throughout, but it's just his writing through the beginning half that wasn't quite doing it for me. A review pool that's been put with Candyman a lot is that it's this year's Get Out. I think this is a reductive and futile statement for many reasons, the most prominent of which is that this is written and produced by Jordan Peele as well, so yes, I guess it is this year's Get Out. But on that same token, do you then think that Tenet was 2020's Inception or 2020's Memento? It's a stupid statement that is just put on posters to grab attention, I know, and I can't say it's completely wrong either, because I imagine that if you like Get Out, you will like Candyman. But Candyman isn't as good as Get Out, not by a long shot. While both have similar themes, Get Out tackles them much more maturely and subtly. Candyman is much more aggressive, which isn't unfitting for a slasher, but that's just it. At its heart, Candyman is a slasher and feels like one. Get Out was something completely different, and I don't think we'll get anything like it for a long time, especially if Jordan Peele's second film, Us, was anything to go by. With all that being said though, Candyman is still a very well crafted horror. It looks and sounds terrifying and is made up of a lot more atmospheric horror than straight up jump scares, though it's not without a few of those here and there. It pays homage to horror as a whole, while making its own mark on the genre. Its themes can be a bit muddled at points, and some of the characters are a bit cliched, but it's still a much more thought-provoking horror than your average Halloween flick. Candyman gets a Deight score of 7. Happy dating, you loners.